on Friday. Okay, I will be, there's a meeting, I have to be in Johnstown in the morning. So we'll use that as a lab day, so you guys can finish Module 3 on Friday. I think I have it scheduled Monday at midnight to be completed, but hopefully you can get done Friday. On Monday, then, we'll start Module 4. So what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to do, I think, I went through Module 3 this morning because remember I kind of had to wing that because we didn't have Wi-Fi. But I think I covered all the concepts that are in Module 3. We did VLOOKUP, we did if statements, we talked about errors a little bit, functions, how to use functions, optional required arguments, and so what I'd like to do is to do one of the project case. So in Module 3 we have the exam, we have 2 SAM projects, and then we have an instructor project. So it doesn't look like anyone did the instructor project yet, so let's do that, let's do that together. So this is Module 3, Biology, Case 3, Biology 221 on page 184, 185 of your text. So let's go up and let's get the data set to start. So data Excel 3, Case 3, and Biology workbook. So on the documentation tab, let's put author, and we'll use the today function to put in today's date. And let's go to the biology grades tab. Okay, the first thing it wants us to do is in B5, we're going to use the count A function to count up the student IDs in column H. So let's do count A. And count A counts anything not empty. Okay, so count A, different than count, which counts only the things that have numbers. So if it has text, it will not count it. So we're going to use count A, and column H looks like we have all the way down to, I didn't open parenthesis, count A, and we're going to do H3 all the way down through H68. What was that data? What is it?
There's an
Okay. In the range B8 to F8, enter the weight values 10, 20, 20, 20, and 30. So that would be in B8. We're going to enter in 20%. We're going to enter in, or I'm sorry, that's 10%. It would be the first one, 0.10, 0.20, 0.20, 0.20, and 0.3. So over here we have the detail for the class, and it looks like we have homework, quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3. Looks like it goes from K3 the whole way down to K68. So it wants us to figure out the average of those items. So let's do average. And this is K, let's say K3 through K68. Now what's nice is we set this up so that these are referenced the same way. It goes homework, quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, final exam. So if I just drag that over, it should use relative addressing and the L, M, and N, and O appropriately. Wants us to do the low score and the median score, so let's do that as well. K3, K68 for the min, equal min K3, K68. The median would be equal median K3, K68. And the high would be equal max. K3, K68. And once again, because it's set up correctly, I can drag all those over at once. All right, so it wants us to figure out a class average, but it wants us to use those weights. So basically, over here in P3, what it wants us to do is, this is Kenneth Aaron's class, so we want to give 10% of the weight to his homework score, 20% of the weight to his quiz 1 score, 20% of the weight to his quiz 2 score, so forth and so on. How would we do that? What formula would we use to do that? How do we do that? How would we give 10% of weight to homework, 20% to quiz 1, 20% to quiz 2, 20% to quiz 3, and 30% to the final exam? Mathematically, how would I do that? What would the equation look like if I want to do a weighted average? It's kind of like expected value, if you remember that from stats. I would have to do this. I'd have to say K2, K3 times, and 10% is the weight. So that would be B8. Then I'd have to say plus L3 times C8. I'd give it times the 20%. And I have to do that for all 5 of those. Now, the issue with that is, well, I'm going to have to type in basically 10 terms to do that. That's kind of problematic. And maybe Excel has something to do that, and it does. There is a function in Excel called sum product, SUMPRODUCT. And what sum product does is we give it 2 arrays, and it takes the first thing in array 1 and multiplies it by the first thing in array 2, and then adds the second thing in array 1 times the second thing in array 2. So it's doing what exactly it says, sum product. So it's taking the product, multiplying, and then adding them together. So what I really want to do is I want to say, okay, I want to sum product. The first range is this B8 through F8, comma, and then I want to sum product it with this person's scores, so K3, O3. So sum product, B8, K3, F8 to K303. So what it's going to do is multiply B8 times K3 plus it would be C8 times what would be L3. Okay, so it's going to go through that, add them all up, and we get a weighted average. I hit enter, and I get a 94.5. Now, obviously, I want to use the same logic down. I'm going to drag this down. What should I change about this formula first? Kira? Sure, we're always going to reference those weights, so we should lock those in using the F4 function key. So highlight, put it in edit mode, highlight just that component, lock that in. Now we drag it down, boom. Okay, and we have our averages. Our weighted averages. So it says class rank. We could obviously sort these and then put in 1 through whatever, but we can also have Excel do that for us internally using the rank function. So there is a rank function, and I give it 2 things. I give it the thing I want to rank. So in this case, I'm going to try to rank Kenneth Aaron's 94.5. And I want to say within what list. So the list I want to do is P3 the whole way down to P68. So where does P3 rank in the row in the P3 to P68 grouping? So it looks like his 94.5 is third. Now, obviously, I'm going to want to drag this down. Once again, what part of this do I want to make absolute? Because I always want to look at that list. I want the P3 to P68 to be absolute. I'm going to F4 that guy. Doesn't change it, but when I drag it down, you'll see we have ranks given. So the number 1 in the class looks like Richard Varela. Number 1, and Tiffany Steck is 60, so we have our ranks. Okay. We're going to do a little lookup, so we're going to make a little application out of this. Basically what we want to do is put in a student ID here. This is going to be our input, and we're going to return all kinds of things here. So in cell B15, it wants us to enter Lawrence Fujita, his information, which is 602-1-99. And we want to find his first name, his last name, his homework grade, and all those good things. So if a student comes in my office, I just say, what's your ID? I can put student ID and it returns all those things. How am I going to find his first name in this table? Ideas? If I just gave you his ID, what would you do if you didn't have access to Excel? I printed this out, what would you do? You would do what? You would look it up. You'd go through and find it up. So what function does lookups for us? VLOOKUP. This is a vertical table, so we're going to use VLOOKUP. So we're going to say equal VLOOKUP. Remember, VLOOKUP wants, hey, what are you looking up? Well, we're going to look up B15, and the index value is always has to be the first row. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't look up based on last name, right? And it always has to be unique as well, because if not, it'll cause some issues. B15, the table array that I want to look up goes from H what is that, H3, and I'm going to give it the whole table, the whole way down to Q68. And what are we looking for here? We're looking for first name, and that is the column 1, 2, 3. So that's column 3. And am I getting an exact or a approximate match? I want an exact match, so I'm going to say false. Okay, so we found Lawrence's first name. It looks like we're doing his last name, homework, quiz 1, final exam, class rank. So everything in that table needs to come over. Instead of me typing that every time, I'm going to copy that formula down. In doing so, before I do that, well, I'm always going to look up B15, right? That's always the key. The table doesn't move. It's always H3 to Q68. The only thing that really changes is the index. So I'm going to make everything in that formula static, absolute, using my F4 function key. I'm going to drag it down. Now it all says Lawrence, 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 Lawrence. But let's see. Last name is not in column 3, it's in column 2. Homework, I think, is in column 4. Quiz 1 is in column 5. Quiz 2 is in column 6. Column 7. Column 8. Column 9. And column 10. And just to test it out, I'm going to put in, I don't know, let's put in Pearl's information, 165-6-22. And it goes out and finds Pearl Eubanks, and there's her information. So we've kind of built a little query of that table, right? The table's not that big, but say it was thousands and thousands and thousands of rows. You know, we built ourselves a little retrieval engine for this. You guys get this? Yes? Okay. We already tested the VLOOKUP. It says Manuel Harmon, that's right here, it looks like he's right here, was not able to take the final exam because of a family crisis. He's scheduling a makeup exam for him. A weighted average of 92 will give Manuel an A for the course. Use GoalSeek to determine what grade he would need on the final to get an A for the course. Okay, so there's nothing in O21, and currently that's counting as a 0. Okay, we can let it go. It's a 62.7 is his weighted average. We want to know what score you'd have to get a 92 or higher. So using GoalSeek, well, if I just type in, I could type in 100 and see it changes that to 92.7. And I could do 90 and say, oh, that's not quite enough. I could do 95 and say, oh, looks like that's better. Looks like 98. But what I'm doing, so it's probably around 97, probably 97 point something. But the trial and error I'm doing, you know, it takes me some time to do that. So why don't we use our good friend Excel to do that for me. So under the data tab, under what if analysis, we're going to select GoalSeek, and we're going to set the value P21, that's where his weighted final average is, to value 92, that's what he needs for an A. by changing cell O21, which is where his final exam will live. So I click OK, and it tells me to get a 92, he has to get a 97.6667. So all it did was trial and error, but it's a computer, so it can do things faster and more efficiently than you or I could do trial and error. Where's GoalSeek at? If you go to the data tab, under the forecast grouping, there's a what if analysis. You see what if analysis? What's that? You have what if analysis? On it? All right, that ends this case, but let's add some couple things to it because we have time. We'll do something else, but some other things just to reinforce. So that would be the case. Submit that, you get 100%. But I want you guys help with a few things. What if I wanted to highlight in this, maybe lower than 60% is failing grades. That's in my class, lower than 60% is a failing grade. How would let's say, okay, how would I highlight failing grades? How would I look through there for things less than 60? How would I make sure that I see them, that I can visualize it? What tool would I use, Kira? Sure. Okay, so when we go to the Home tab, okay, we could highlight, and why not give it the whole range? So K3 through down to, what is that, P68. And I would do conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and I could say anything less than 60. I want light red fill with dark red text, that probably works. So now, and I can see as I spin through this, I'll give him his 97 or what it was. I'm going to make that normal. But I can quickly see the Fs. Okay, so there's a 49, 51. If I also want to, maybe reward students, greater than 95 with something, I could put another rule right over top of that, over the same range, highlight cell rules, anything greater than 95. Maybe I'll do green fill with dark green text. So now I can see things that are both very bad, and very good in a picture, right? Without trying to look at the numbers themselves. Let's look at class average. Okay, let's look at that column. And I'm going to highlight, looks like that's P3 the whole way down to P68. And in conditional formatting, there are also top bottom rules. So I could do top 10%, but maybe I want to say, top 25%, and I'm going to do the yellow fill with dark yellow text. So these are the people that have top 25%. Now, you notice the ones that are, last one I added, so some of these are true on 2, right? So they're over 90, so they'd be green, and they're also in the top 25%. The one I put in last overrides, right? It kind of overwrites it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I put that in last. I'm going to undo that if you would, just undo. This is another way to show differences. If we go down to conditional formatting, go under color scales, do you see there's a, let's just do the first one. This is a green, yellow, red color scale where the green indicates darker green, darker shades of green indicate better, darker shades of red indicate worse, and yellow indicates middle. So once again, I can visually get a sense of where things are by looking at that. Okay. Let's see. Let's add a column here, and I'm going to add it between P and Q. So click on Q, right-click and say Insert. And let's figure out a average of the class average. So class average. And I'm just going to average here P3 through P68. So the average of that P column, P3 through P68, looks like the overall class average is 83.68. And let's say I want to build a flag here, and we're just going to say better than average. So I want to compare that student's class average with the overall class average. If it's better than average, I want to say yes. And if it's not better than average, I want to say no. That sounds like conditional branching logic. What is the function in Excel or any programming language we use for branching logic? What would we use for that? What would we use for that? What's that? If statement. So I would say equal if, and I'm going to say if, in this case, P3 is greater than or equal to, and I'm going to reference that class average field I just calculated out, which is B26. So if P3 is greater than B26, I'm going to put a flag that says yes, or a string in here called yes. If not, I'm going to put a string called no. Now, I want to do that for all of these people. So I'm going to drag that down, but before I do, which part of that formula do I want to make absolute? I want to make the what? B26, because my average does not move. I'm going to have for that guy. Whoops. B26, for it, and then I'm going to drag it down, and now people can see if they are better than average, they get a yes. If they're not better than average, they get a no. Now you see it's all green, it was all red. That's because our conditional formatting, when we inserted that column, it got the same conditional formatting as the column to its left. What would I have to do if I'd want to turn that off? I'd have to go up to conditional formatting under manage rules. Okay, you see that goes from K3 to Q68. All these, I would have to change that to go to P68. I could change all those to go to P68 because I don't want it really to go to this column. And now the conditional formatting doesn't apply. How about this? So we have better than average, we have class rank. Let's say I want to give them a letter grade. Okay, I want to give these people a letter grade. And let's just use the traditional scale of 90s an A, 80s a B, 70s a C, 60s a D, and everything else is a fail. So let me go over here and say letter grade. How do I do that? Two ways we could do that. Give me one way. We'll do them both ways. There's one way I can give these people a letter grade. Come on. If you had to do this, what would you do? Yeah, I could do a nested if statement, okay? So typically what we do is we start with the highest one, right? So we would start, we'd say equal if, and this is going to get, let me give me some room because it's going to get big. And try to follow along with me. So let's just leave that. So I'm going to say equal if, and it's P3. I believe that's where my grade is. Yes, if P3 is greater than or equal to 90, comma A. And as soon as that is true, as soon as it finds, hey, that's true, put in an A, it's done. If it's not true, it goes to this second comma. So all we know at this point is what? That it's not 90 or above. But we don't know if it's 80 or above, 70 or above, 60 or above. So we have to use branching logic for that. So we have to embed an if inside. We're going to have to say if P3 is greater than or equal to 80, then we put in B. And if it gets to that point, it's not greater than 90, but it is greater than 80, we put a B, it's done. It doesn't go any further in the if statement. You know what I'm saying? As soon as it finds something that's true, it opts out, it goes out. Comma. But if it's not greater than 90, it's not greater than 80, hey, we have to put another if statement in. If P3 is greater than 70, greater than or equal to, I guess. Then put a C. Else, and we have one more thing to check. If P3 is greater than or equal to 60, put a D, comma. So it's not greater than 90, it's not greater than 80, it's not greater than 70, it's not greater than 60. I don't care where it is. If you reach this final comma, you get an F. Okay, now we got to be real careful. We close all our parentheses match. So I'm closing the first one. See the green's bold. Closing the second one. That's the maroon, I think it is. Then red, and then finally the black. So because I have 4 open parentheses, I have 4 closed parentheses. So follow the logic here. If P3 is greater than or equal to 90, A, I'm done. If it's not, I go to this comma. Hey, I need to evaluate another if statement. If P3 is greater than 80, I go here, I'm done. If it's not, hey, I know it's not greater than 90, not greater than 80. P3 greater than 70, C, if not. So that's the logic. It's a cascading nested if. I hit enter, let's see if it works. Now the 94.5 got an A. Just drag it down here. I don't think I have to change anything because it's all relative references. 85 is getting a B, 78 is getting a C. Just do a test, 69.9 is getting a D. That person probably wouldn't be happy with a 69.9 and I give them a D, right? You guys have to get an email, guarantee that, right? Submitted that D, they'd be like, Dr. Meadville, I tried really hard. You know what I'm talking about? So, so what would if I wanted to, and usually I don't use like a function to do this, I eyeball it all and I look at, I look at things, I look at the natural break. So when I assign grades, it's not as mechanistic. But if I wanted to use a function, but I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt, or at least give you rounding, right? What would I have to do this? A couple things I could do, but think about what would I have to do? If I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt, the rounding. Very good. So I would make them, if I wanted to do that, I would say 89.5 and 70, I'd change that. I could do that. What else could I do? That's one thing I could do. What else could I do? What else could I do? Yes? Okay, that's the next way I'm going to assign grades. We'll do that next. But if I'm just talking about rounding right now. Well, I said it, rounding. What I could do, okay, and let's just do this. Let's just for, let's just put it right here. I could create, there's a function called round, okay? And round does what it says it does. It rounds numbers. So I'm going to take P3. I'm going to round it to, I think I remember how it works. I think it's, if I want to round to the ones place, I think I put a 1 in here. So let's try that, P3 comma 1. Now that's 1 decimal point. 0. Yeah. So if I want to round it to the ones place, I put a 0 for that argument. If I would want to round it to 2 decimal places, I'd put a 2. It doesn't show it, but it's rounded to 2. I don't know if any of these are 2 decimal places. I'm going to put a 0 here. And if I want to round it even more so, like to the tens place, I believe I put a -1. Yeah, so that rounds it to 90 because it's 94.5. If I put -2, it's going to round to the hundreds place. So 94.5 gets rounded to 100. So you see how that works? So numbers, positive numbers are decimal places. 0 is the ones place. Negative numbers are tens, the hundreds. Does that make sense? So in this case, I'm going to round to the ones place. So I'm going to round all these so the 69.9 that was complaining. Where is the 69.9? Gets rounded to a 70. So I could do either one of two things. I could have embedded the round function everywhere I see P3. I could have said round P3 comma 0 and then evaluate that, but that's a pain in the butt because I'd have to embed that function. So instead of looking at P3, I'm just going to change it to look at T3 each place, T3. So now the 69.9 person, I round up, I'm making my decision based on the rounded number, and the 69.9 person, let's see. Now that if statement isn't too bad. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 nested ifs. But truthfully, I think what what Victoria said would probably be a better way to accomplish this. Okay, so what we would do is we'd build a grading table. So let's go over here, separate, and let's go to A28 and build a grading table. I'm going to do 0, and that gets an F. And to get a D, we're going to say you have to have 59.5 or higher. So we'll build that into our rounding. To get a C, you have to have 69.5 or higher. To get a B, you have to have 79.5 or higher. And to get an A, you have to have 89.5 or higher. And I could have built, all the A minuses and B pluses in there and all those good things. But basically, I built a grading table, right? So 69.5 and below 69.5 is an F, or 59.5 is an F. If you get to 59.5 and not quite to 69.5, you get a D. So let's assign that grade. Instead of the method we've been using, let's insert a column here and say lookup letter grade. So same, you should get the same grade, but it's going to be based on a different method. So in T3, I'm going to say equal VLOOKUP. I'm going to look up class rank, which is a P3 in this case. The table, I'm going to go reference the table I just built, which is over here somewhere. Looks like mine is A28 through B32. Comma. I'm going to return the second column, which is where I have that letter grade, comma. Am I doing an exact match or an approximate match? I'm doing an approximate match. Now, I'm going to drag this down, but before I do so, my table doesn't change, so I might as well make that absolute, A28 to B32. Hit enter, drag. And it assigns a grade, same grade, looks like same grade. However, this grade is based on that lookup table. Now, what advantage do I have on the VLOOKUP method versus the if method? It's simpler to code, right? What else? What other advantage do we have for maintaining things? Yes?
If you need to do a curve, you can just change what
Very good. So if I decided to curve, I could, I'd have to change this if statement, drag it down. But really, and I could do all kind of things. But if I went here and I said, oh, I really want to curve, so I'm going to say, I don't know. Let's say that you only need a 85.5 to get an A. Okay, automatically, comes over here, and adjust. Now I'm going to see some differences, hopefully. Yeah, so this guy had a B in the old method. They have an 86.3 average. They have an A now, okay? And speaking of curves, what would I do if I wanted to count the number of A, B, C's, D's, and F's I gave? So sometimes maybe I want to monkey around with this, and like some universities, grade inflation is a real problem. I don't know if you guys know that. It's probably not a problem for students, but it's a problem nationally. Like my sister teaches at Bucknell University, and their grade inflation is off the charts. A lot of high achievers there, right? Need for high achievement. And they are thinking about putting in policies where in a given class you can only give 35% A's, unless you have like extenuating circumstances, like you have to write a letter to your chair and dean and all that stuff. Because it's it's problematic. I guess it's problematic, right? Do you think it's a problem, Steve?
You have a high enough percentage, does that matter?
Yeah.
But if you have 80 people out of 100 that get 95%, you need to flash be harder.
See, what's happening though is, what was our response to grade inflation, like last year? Yeah, so now, we were saying that, like, I think over 40% of people are making dean's lists. So if 40% of people do something, are you that damn special? No. So we said, well, there needs to be another special. So what is it, 3.8? Is it 3.8? 3.5 is dean's list.
3.85.
Oh, is that what his provost list is? So what's going to happen? Eventually, there's going to be like 35% of people on the provost list, and we'll have some like president's list or D'Amico. I don't know. We're gonna. So you know what I'm saying? It's a race to nowhere. But there's no incentive. It's a good study because there's no incentive. There's no incentive for me to be harder on you guys, right? Because then you take it on me on idea evaluations, right? You look worse to potential employers because you have lower grades, right? So there's no incentives there. Think of all the, like, athletics is always saying, hey, we're like the smartest conference, like the smartest students in the Northeast Conference. You guys ever see, do you think we are? I don't think, I have a lot of smart students, but do you think we're that special? Probably not. Probably what? We probably maybe have a little more grade inflation in St. Francis than maybe some of those other schools, right? Because I'm sure their students are just as smart as our students, right? Anyways, that's not a problem I want to solve. But what if I wanted to count, and we'll do this real quick, I want to count the number of F, D, C's, B's, and A's in my class. How could I do that? So let's look at column T. So we'll do T3, 2, 3, 6, 68. You guys remember this from stats. There's also a count conditional, count if. So I did T3 through T68. And I want to count the number of B28s it finds, which is F. I'm going to make T3 to T68 absolute, because I'm going to drag that down. And looks like I gave no Fs. I gave 5 Ds, 14 Bs, 14 Cs, 17 Bs, and 30 As. Let's auto sum that real quick. Yeah, we have 66 students. I can figure out a percentage, right? 30 divided by 66, 17. So I can do all kinds of things. Anyways, we're out of time. So once again, I'm not here Friday. So please finish up Module 3 stuff. 2 SAMS projects, a SAM exam. On Monday, we'll start Module 4. Module 4 is something that we'll get in analyzing and charting functions, which we did a little bit we did a lot in Stat 301, but we'll also add some things to it like spark lines and stuff like that. Yeah, Brent?
Did you want us to redo the case, or can we submit?
Submit what you have.
Okay.
Yeah, submit what you have. Like you mean the version we went,
Right.
Yeah. Submit the version, whatever version you have to tell you.
Right, because you grade it, right?
Yeah, I'm grading those. Have a great day.